Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. I'm just making sure my mic's working this time because I forgot to turn on yesterday. It's a Good Tuesday, and good news, there's a lot of good stuff happening, and some people are even getting their money back. Let's go ahead and get into our headlines. Today on Before Coffee. Despite weather glitch, the Paris Olympics flame is lit at the Greek cradle of ancient games.
And finding peace in the crease, how the game cricket is helping refugees.
Scottish Power to pay out £1.5 million after overcharging 1,700 households.
And in world's first, scientists have a conversation with a humpback whale.
In culture news, former UK PM Liz Truss says she knows how to save the West in a new book. Good news!
All those wonderful good news stories on today, which is National Wear Your Pajamas to Work Day, April 16th, 2024, on Before Coffee. Happy birthday, Mom.
101 years. All right, let's start with the first news story, which is coming out of Greece. This is on AP by Nicholas Papitis. Ancient Olympia. Even without the help of Apollo, the flame that is to burn at the Paris Olympics was kindled Tuesday at the site of the ancient games in southern Greece. Cloudy skies prepared for the traditional lighting when an actress dresses an ancient Greek priestess uses the sun to ignite a silver torch after offering up a symbolic prayer to Apollo, the ancient Greek sun god. Instead, she used a backup flame that had been lit on the same spot Monday during the final rehearsal. Too bad. The final rehearsal was the real thing, but then the real thing wasn't as dramatic, I guess. Too bad. Yeah. Normally, the foremost of a group of priestesses in long pleated dresses dips the fuel-filled torch in a parabolic mirror, which focuses the sun's rays on it, and the fire spurts forth. But this time, she didn't even try, going straight for the backup flame. Kept it in a copy of an ancient Greek pot. Ironically, a few minutes later, the sun shone forth. Yeah, you could have just waited a bit. I have to go to an appointment and my doctor, so I need to get out of here. From the ancient stadium in Olympia, a relay of torchbearers will carry the flame more than 5,000 kilometers or 3,100 miles through Greece until the handover to Paris game organizers in Athens on April 26. International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach said the flame lighting combined a pilgrimage to our past in ancient Olympia and an act of faith in our future. Boy, do I love this return to antiquity talk about the Olympic Games. Like, dude, none of us are Greek, and none of us would be considered Greek. Europeans were seen as barbarians. Actually, the word barbarian means not Greek in its actual translation. And the fact that we attach ourselves so vehemently to the ancient Greek culture as if we have anything to do with it. You know, the fact that I can't pronounce any Greek names should be key enough how unattached we are to our ancient Greek roots. But white supremacy aside, I'm sure this guy's not a white supremacist, but that's what white supremacists believe. That, you know, Greeks were the epitome of civilization, and that because we're so great, we must be related to them. Not that we hate the Turkish, who are right across the water there, who are basically the same people, but that aside, just Greeks weren't Christians either. And in these difficult times, with wars and conflicts on the rise, people are fed up with all the hate, the aggression, and negative news, he said. We are longing for something which brings us together, something that is unifying, something that gives us hope. Thousands of spectators from all over the world packed Olympia for Tuesday's event, amid the ruined temples and sports ground where the ancient games were held from 776 BC to 393 AD. The spiraling site is lush valley by the confluence of two rivers, and it is the prettiest in the spring, teeming with pink flowering Judas trees, small blue irises, and the occasional red anemone. Or is it anemone? Greek authorities maintained high security around Olympia on Tuesday after protests by rights activists disrupted the lighting ceremonies for the Beijing Summer and Winter Games. I don't think anyone has anything against Paris. Oh, last time they were angry. Yeah, because you were in China. Nobody's like, fuck the French! Nah! Those damn French people! No, I don't... There's something to be angry about? I don't know. Maybe the Parisians, you can be angry at them.
You eat snails! Ah! Anyway.
Armed police stopped incoming vehicles and checked for explosives while sniffer dogs combed the grounds. I mean, it would be a shame to blow up Olympia. I don't care what you're doing it for. Please don't blow up Olympia. The first torchbearer was Greek rower Stefanos Doskos, a gold medalist in 2021 in Tokyo. He ran to a nearby monument that contains the heart of the French Baron Pierre de Coubertin, the driving force behind the modern revival of the game. The next runner was Laure Manadou, a French swimmer who won 3 medals at Athens in 2004. She handed over to senior European Union official Margaritis Chinas, a Greek. He's just a Greek guy. European official, he's Greek. Oh, yeah. IOC's Bach praised Paris organizers for doing an outstanding job with preparations for the July 26 to August 11 games. He also highlighted their environmental impact, saying the cleanup efforts will make it possible to swim in the river Seine. Seine? I know that's not how you say it. Which traverses
Seine.
Paris. Huh?
Seine. It's called the Seine, as in pain.
If you say so. That doesn't sound very French pronunciation, though. Seine.
Okay,
River Seine. For the first time in 100 years, they could swim in the river. Wow. I wish the Thames had the same thing. They can't swim there right now. That's really sad. Yeah, woohoo, we did it. We cleaned up the river. Now it's going to get full of junk just in time for the Olympics. It's just going to fill it back up with junk. The frame will travel to Athens port of Piraeus on the Bellum, a French 3-masted sailing ship built in 1896, the year of the first modern games in Athens. Wow. They still have a ship running around from 1896. According to Captain Emmer Hibet, it's due on May 8th in the southern French port of Marseille, a city founded by Greek colonists some 2,600 years ago. The Bellum arrived in Katakolo, near Olympia, on Monday. Lookers on included a small enthusiast group of tourists from the northwestern French region of Brittany, where the ship's home port of Nantes is, waving French and Breton flags. Hell yeah, one of my French friends my only French friend is from Brittany. So, woo! Did you know Brittany is actually more English than the rest of France because they were conquered by England, I think England for like 200 years or something, so they have a little bit more English influence than everyone else.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You want to hear a pronunciation of Seine, the river in France, and
did you find a French speaker
in Paris? Seine. That's it. That's
Seine.
As in, I'm saying, don't lock me up.
I'm sane, I'm telling you. We thought it would be a unique opportunity to see the flame lighting at the historic site of Olympia, said Jean-Michel Pasquet from Lorient, near Nantes. And when we learned that the Bellum would carry the flame, we said we must do this. But Pasquet said he'd have to watch the Paris Games from home. For us, it would be really very expensive and unaffordable to go to the venues, he said. So we'll watch them on television from our armchairs. Yeah, it's very expensive to get to Paris from Brittany, even though it's in the same country. The freaking tariffs on those Paris trains are high. Really high. It's crazy. Even in your own country, going to Paris is expensive. But I'm sure the people who can afford it will go, and they will enjoy being there for the ceremony of the flame being passed on. I feel like they could have done this like a month before, like at the beginning of June, because Greece to France, not that far, you know? It makes sense. Oh, we're going all the way to China. We're going to have to go halfway across the world. We might need a little bit of time to get the flame there. But here it's like, yeah, just, you know, you could probably walk it. Genuinely walk it to Greece. If you're starting today, on April 16th,
they
you could probably
off
walk it.
People carrying it. They auction off people carrying it for certain periods.
Yeah.
I know in the United States, a lot of celebrities carried it. Torch. So there's probably a lot of people that pay to carry it, right? It goes to some charity or the U.S. Olympic team or even the French Olympic team or whatever. You know, right?
Yeah, for sure. But
It's
that's the end of the story.
Thing. It's not necessarily just a delivery. It's more of a everybody gets a hand in it type thing.
15 minutes of fame and all that.
I don't even know if it's even fame. It's just, who knows who you are? You run with it for half a mile and end up somebody else.
Yeah. But some people do feel really honored, of course, to do it.
Yeah, right. So you did. I got to carry Olympic torch. Did you? Hell no, you're not special.
I dropped the torch right there on the highway.
I started the forest fire with it. Yeah. Okay.
That's the story.
Okay, so
the Olympics are in tow.
More good news day and it come here. This is from, we got a couple of stories from positive.news. This one's from Martin Wright. Cricket helped me build my personality as refugees finding peace on the creeks. In a refugee camp in Lebanon, cricket is helping Syrian and Palestinian teenagers overcome terrible experiences not widely played in their home countries. The sport provides a blank canvas, an opportunity for joy and possibility. The England's women's Lioness team helped make football popular among girls. Now cricket too is stepping up. Take Wasal Al-Jaber, 16, and her friend Ala Al-Khalaf, 17, whistles a mean off-spinner and a cricket coach too, and Ola is a powerful batter. Like many young sports fans, they love to play for their country. A typical dream, perhaps, less so when that country is Syria. Wissal and Ola are among 40,000 refugees, mainly Syrian but Palestinian too, living on an overcrowded Shatila camp located in the turbulent South Beirut. It was built for 3,000 people and is now home to 40,000. It is the least likely playing fields imaginable, but these young women and their friends, its scraps of waste ground are havens of extraordinary hope. Whistle and Ola grew up in Deir ez-Zor, Syria, which is overrun by ISIS militants, when the pair were children. Talking to me on a Zoom for Shatila, Wissal shudders as she recalls seeing the worst things you'll ever see in her entire life. Body parts right there in the street. Lots of heads. Yes, with a question mark. Whistle has a way of making sure I understand her before moving on. But heads? Yes, says Ola, almost a matter-of-factly. They were cutting off people's heads. She had a gun held to her own. Both were lucky to escape with their lives. Luckier still to make it to Shatila and into the arms of Al-Sama, sky in Arabic. This 4-year-old NGO is transforming lives for children who have been left largely untouched by other charities for whom the area, riven as it is with armed factions and drug running, is seen as just too risky. Al-Sama was founded by a couple who were London-based at the time, Richard Verity and Meke Zerdvogel, who were new to the region. Verity had volunteered in Shatila while working with global management consulting firm McKinsey. When he and Zervogel had synchronized midlife crisis, leading to very privileged, comfortable lives, but lacking any kind of social impact, their thoughts turned to the children they'd met there, and in particular their hunger for an education. And so Al-Sama began. With the aim of providing schooling and empowering refugee kids, almost all of whom are illiterate, many of whom had never gone to school. Al-Sama Their appetite for learning was extraordinary, said Verity. The girls in particular, they really pushed for it. They made posters and banners saying they wanted to learn English, to learn math. They wanted to go to school. It's so unlike the work ethic of many Western children. There's a dig at Western children.
What the fuck? What did this suddenly... Wait, they're just like us?
Oh, calm down. All right. Not done. These girls know education is a privilege, not a chore. In other words, she's saying, yeah, didn't you hate to go to school? Admit it, Western girls, you hated school. All right?
I still hate school.
There you go. All right, these girls want to learn. It's not like you don't want to learn.
Oh, I want to learn, but the school is the problem.
You just hate school, right? Okay. But they look at it as a privilege. When you get heads chopped off, you guys pointing at your head.
Yeah, for sure.
A little bit. 4 years on, and Al-Sama has opened these 3 schools, with a 4th on the way, teaching girls Arabic and math, as well as IT and coding skills and girls' empowerment. The latter helps them to avoid the traps, which are all too typical for Syrian refugee girls, a early teenage marriage. These schools are open 44 weeks of the year and aim at cramming the usual 12 years of education into just 6. The aim is to equip pupils to go on to university. They now teach nearly 900 kids, but have a waiting list 3 times that number. But why cricket? It's hardly part of the local culture, but that may be part of its appeal to kids traumatized by the region's endless wars. It is something new, different, and crucially, as Mohammed Khair and Al-Sama's Palestinian Syrian head cricket coach explains, something in which girls can excel alongside boys. Thanks to the fact that cricket is a non-contact sport, it also means that the sexes can play together, and they do. Thanks to the fact that cricket, Al-Sama's 550 cricketers are split almost exactly 50-50 male and female. Cricket helps teach teamwork and cooperation too. Cooperation is one word in this country, folks. Cooperation. Anyway, cooperation is... Meanwhile, there is no doubting its popularity. Matches between teams in Shatila, Bor El Baranjene, and Bakwa Valley cricket hubs are keenly contested. There's even a talk about international games, but the biggest impact has been on the young women themselves. As a child, I was really shy, said Lasal, but cricket helped me build my personality. I learned to speak up. Ola agrees. I love hitting the ball really hard. When I hit a 6, I feel like I'm achieving my dreams. I feel like I'm expressing my inner life. The ball goes all the way. So can I. There's your positive news of cricket in a refugee camp. And there's your positive news. Positive.news today. On Good Tuesday.
Yeah, education.
And cricket.
And crickets. Chirp,
and
chirp.
Teamwork. Not crickets.
I know. It was a joke. I just still can't believe that. Unlike... Very similar to us. They also like learning things.
Everywhere. Amazing.
Most kids love learning, I think. It's the school that's the issue, 100%. The actual...
recess during the day. They can play cricket.
Most people are just like, why is this teacher on my ass all the time? I just want to go do what I want to do, you know? Well, you have to learn your math. And then by the time, of course, we graduate high school, none of us know math anyways. What was all those years of math for?
I don't know. I learned math, so don't come down on me.
Well, that was your interest, math. Some people don't have an interest in math, and they're still forced to take it, and then they don't learn it because they have no interest in learning it. It's just a waste of effort, is all I'm saying.
Absolutely hate math. Absolutely. I just learned it, but I don't think it's hard. That's all. Yeah.
I'm just saying, there's people out there. We're forced to take math, still don't know it. That's all.
Your attitude sucks. Your everything's gonna suck. I'm just saying, these kids are kids that have seen real shit. They love school. Back to you.
Okay. In our next story, we're going to talk about getting your money back. This is from Julia Colelwe on The Guardian. Scottish Power is to pay 1.5 million pounds in refunds and compensation after overcharging nearly 1,700 households at the height of the energy crisis and in previous years, paying out an average of $294 to each customer. That doesn't seem like a lot, but that probably was a lot for them. What were we doing again? Let's do the math real quick. 294 times 17,000 people, or 1,700 people, sorry.
Round up to 300.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
Lots of money. The energy regulator Ofgem said it agreed to redress package with the supplier after it confirmed that between 2015 and 2023, it mistakenly charged 1,699 direct debit customers at a higher rate than this should only apply to those who pay when they receive their bill. So they were people who were directly taking it out of bank accounts were getting paid the same rate as when they send you the bill and say, please enclose your money with this bill. The average amount overcharged was $149 a customer. Scottish Power's paid $250,000 in refunds to affected customers, plus another £250,000 in goodwill payments. Oh, so they're actually paying them for fucking up as well. Here's your money back, and also sorry we fucked up, equating to an average of $294 a customer. All payments have been made automatically, and customers do not need to do anything. Yeah, I was wondering where the other... Wait, no, but they're still missing money here. That's only £1 million. Where's the other £500 coming from? £500,000 coming from? Wait, no, that's not right. £750. There's like... I'm sure they'll tell me. The company apologized for the technical error. Andrew Ward, the chief executive of its customer business, said, "We're so sorry that a very small number of our customers were affected by the mistake and faced an increased financial burden, especially during a time when energy prices were reaching an unprecedented high and the government had to step in to provide support." I do wonder that if you are direct debiting your energy bill, if you are already well off enough to not worry about somebody taking a large chunk of money out of your account automatically, and I think about if poor people are more commonly using the pay bill system where they send you the bill and then you have to pay it. Because if that's true, that means that poor people are actually being charged more because they want to pay monthly through a paper bill. That's so crazy. Because they're trying to do it to not probably overdraw their account. Their account in the bank. The small little taxes on being poor. Scottish Power has also agreed to pay £1 million to Ofgem's Energy Industry Voluntary Redress Fund. Okay, so that's where the other money is going to. Which gives money to charities and community projects that help vulnerable customers with energy-related support. They're also giving to charity. Dan Norton, the Ofgem Deputy Director for Price Protection, said, "The last few years have been challenge enough for energy customers facing increasing cost of living pressures without the additional hardships of being overcharged. The price cap is there to protect customers, and we take seriously any breaches of the safeguards we've put in place. Suppliers must be vigilant and act quickly to resolve billing errors that impact customers. We will continue to closely monitor all suppliers and will hold them to account if they do not meet the standards we set." Scottish Power reported itself to a regulator last summer when it discovered that operational errors had led to direct debit customers being charged the standard credit tariff. The overcharge began in 2015 and continued until June 2023, with energy prices reaching historically high levels after the end of the period. Maybe they saw a heightened increase of amount of people who are asking for support with their bills. They're like, why is this happening? Like, there's way more than we expected. And they're like, oh shit, we've been overcharging everyone in 2015. The energy crisis began with a sharp increase in wholesale gas prices in late 2021. The situation was exacerbated by Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, pushing up household gas and electricity bills and prompting government to step in and provide additional support. In determining the redress package, Ofgem said it had considered the additional strain and financial hardship that Scottish Power's error may have caused customers during the time. However, Scottish Power not self-reported and resolved the issues in a timely manner. Had Scottish Power not self-reported and resolved the issues in a timely manner, the redress package would have been considerably higher, Ofgem said. Wait, so they're saying if they didn't fix it, they would have had to pay, I guess, tax money to help people with their... But since Scottish Power gladly donated £1 million into the redress package, they don't have to spend so much out of their own budget. So good job. There's one company out there who's self-reporting their mistakes instead of pocketing the extra money that they made just from, administrative mistakes, I'm sure. Whoops, we forgot to turn off the they didn't pay by paper check mark in our program, and we are overcharging. Either way, good news for everyone, all those people who have Scottish Power as their provider. And I guess on to the next story about some humpback whales.
All right. So more Good News Day on Tuesday. This is Randy Corbley of the Good News Network. In world's first, scientists share what was almost certainly a conversation with a humpback whale. All right, Dan, let's dive into this one. In the world first, marine biologists were able to have discourse with a humpback whale, pushing out the boundaries of cooperation and understanding that could be possible between our two species. The adult female humpback whale, known as Twain, in southeast Alaska, was located along with a group of whales called, with a recording of another humpback's whoop trop call. That's spelled WHUP/THROP. Whoop trop call. Okay. The recording was made by whales of the same group the day before, but the team didn't know if the calls recorded were made by the same whale or were part of an exchange between two or more whales. To find out, these researchers conducted a trial on 2 days. The first to find out if the whoop calls they had recorded would be socially acceptable. It turned out that whatever the whales had been saying the day before was appropriate as far as the Twain was concerned, and after the team broadcast the playback, she drifted away from her group and participated both physically and acoustically in 3 phases of interaction with the crew and their boat, including periods of engagement, agitation, and disengagement. First she called back, then she cried, circled the boat 3 times, surfaced, and dived again. After this interaction, she gradually left. And she's like, What? You can't call me that! Anyway, come here and call me that. Twain's whoop calls on day 2 and whoop calls recorded on day 1 were acoustically analyzed for both spectral and temporal features, specifically in the interval or latency between calls as measured by the time difference between the preceding calls offset and the subsequent calls onset. Did you get all that?
Yeah.
Anyway,
wow.
They were able to determine, the scientists determined that this metric would be able to determine both arousal and balance, thereby allowing them to get some idea of emotional contact of the exchange. Results indicated that substantial variation was found among the latencies in Twain's calling behavior, which they took to mean excitement or arousal. After playing the contact call 3 times, we got this huge response, said Brenda McCowan, told the BBC. Well, here you go with redundancy in the editing there. Said Brenda McCowan told the BBC. No, Brenda McCowan told the BBC. Then, to keep the animal engaged, I started trying to match the latency of her calls to our calls. If she waited 10 seconds, I waited 10 seconds. We ended up matching each other. We did this 36 times over a 20-minute period. Twain's calls were significantly shorter during engagement than either during the period defined as education, when she was circling the boat, ejecting air through her blowhole, or when she was leaving. The BBC reports that the songs of humpback whale are thought to be among the most complex in the animal kingdom. A strong point of the whole experiment is that the results were determined with a degree of blinding via independent, uninformed observers reporting on surface behavior and respiratory activity of the interacting whale. And that story's a little short, but it's a good story. But here's another short little story from Good News Network. It says 2 to 3 minutes, but I think it's even shorter than that. And it's about Wheels for Winners gives hundreds of free bikes in Wisconsin youth in exchange for community service. Man, What was this program when I was a kid?
I want a free bike.
Wisconsin's big on bikes. Big
Yeah.
Wisconsin. And one of America's most cycling friendly cities, a volunteer group is rewarding anyone who puts in time serving the community with a brand old new bicycle. Wheels for Winners only asks the applicants provide evidence that they completed 10 hours of community service for any organization in Madison, Wisconsin. After that, it's simply a matter of showing up, selecting a bike, and riding off in the sunset. 10 hours of work. That's it. Relying on donated bikes for parts, chairman of the Wheels for Winners board, Neil McCallum, says that bikes are completely restored, dismantled for parts, are donated to other partners. Not a single one goes to waste. We turn out about 400 bikes a year, but we take in probably 750 bikes. What we're trying to do here is allow young people that might not be able to afford a bike to have a bike with just a little bit of sweat equity. Sweat equity has a ring to it. Maybe something McCallum should consider. Wheels for Winners isn't alone in its admirable operations, and as a 501c, receives support from the community at a tax-free level, and even received a generous grant recently from American Family Insurance. We distributed 175 bikes to earners and equal amounts to support community biking events, said another board member. Last year, they held 12 events, at the heart of which was their mobile bike library and team of volunteer mechanics that give away bikes and tune-ups to kids in various neighborhoods. So if you need your bike worked on, they'll do that for you. Wheels for Winners members are quick to point out the smiles on the children's faces when they receive their new bike, and point out that the Liberty Bike makes it a seminal moment in any child's life. Typically, the earners are those in the community who can't outrightly afford a bike. So if you can't afford a bike, 10 hours of, picking up trash on a local street, a couple days a week, and you get a bike. Good stuff in Madison, Wisconsin. Back to you.
Yeah, whales and bikes. Now that's some good news. Whales on bikes.
If there's a gamut, we run it. Anyway.
Everyone likes some free stuff, even if it's a refurbished bike.
Yeah.
I would love a refurbished bike right now. Maybe I'll go to Wisconsin just to hey, give me a bike.
Hey, at least the people put it together. We're not just like some high school kid nothing against high school kids working at Walmart, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The first 8 tries, they did it wrong, why is this wheel on backwards?
I feel like I'm missing a bolt somewhere.
Yeah, so a refurbished bike isn't as bad as you might think. I'd take one. You're damn sure I would.
Yeah. Okay. For our culture news, let's talk about something interesting. This is more of a sarcastic Good News Tuesday article here, which is Liz Truss is going to save the West. I don't know why I need saving, but she's going to save it. I love this freaking dog whistle for white supremacists, or like, the West is in danger. The West is a concept, ever-evolving concept. So, this is by Christian Moore on Euronews Culture. If there was anyone who imagined that after kowtowing to Boris Johnson throughout his dismal premiership, leading her own dangerous and divisive culture war campaign for the Tory Party leadership contest, crashing the UK economy in one afternoon, and resigning after a mere 7 weeks as Prime Minister, Liz Truss would beat a quiet, shamefaced retreat from the public eye, then those people, and there can have been many, need to think again. Today, the shortest-serving British Prime Minister ever releases her new book, the ominously and poorly titled 10 Years to Save the West, Lessons from the Only Conservative in the Room. Yes, on the same day that Salman Rushdie releases a short, focused memoir on the stabbing attack which left the author fighting for his life and claimed the side of his right eye, Truss, with the customarily misplaced brazenness, seems to think rather highly of her chances on the bestseller list. Maybe she doesn't think maybe she's not trying to win the bestseller, she's just trying to get the bag, Somebody paid her $10 million to release this book, and she's like, thank you. Maybe not 10 million, that's a lot, but I don't know how much book publishing gets paid. It's being published by Biteback, so that's already an indicator of the publishing house that helped create this book. Time aside, the book itself seems like an odd pitch. First, we have the strange title, 10 Years to Save the West, with its cheap false jeopardy and crass implication that the West is some kind of damsel in distress, and not a collective term for the countries which have historically perpetrated some of humanity's worst sins and continue to abrogate their responsibility to mitigate the real existential jeopardy, the climate crisis. Then we have the even stranger subheading, Lessons from the only conservative in the room. Which room? Surely not the big room in Parliament where all the MPs meet to vote and where Truss inherited a sizable conservative majority from Johnson? More importantly, what lessons? If failure is the greatest teacher, then Truss has the potential to be one of the greatest students. This could be a sublimely acute, sensitive account of how mediocrity, dressed up in self-confidence, is no substitute for competence, and that politics should stop vaunting a discourse of ambition for its participants, advocating instead for a cool, dispassionate understanding that probably not everyone could or should lead a country's government. In short, it could be a well-deserved and well-delivered apology, a pithy mea culpa. But what difference a couple of letters make? For this is no apology, but rather an apologia, a self-serving defense. Guys, I tried, okay, to not be the worst. Like, I don't know if she was the worst PM. She barely was there. I mean, the problem with specifically prime ministers in the UK is that there is a trend, which I cannot confirm or at all, but there is a trend that there seems to be when stuff is really going bad for the Tories or the Conservatives, right? They're like nosediving. Prime Minister has to step down. They always put in a woman to take the actual fall, right? So the man who caused all the issues goes, oh shit, anyways, this woman will take care of it, and then she gets blamed for all the bad stuff that what she didn't cause, right? Governments act in one year in advance, okay? So everything that happened under Liz Truss probably was already gonna happen no matter who was on the podium. But because she's a woman, right? Typical. Women can't govern. They can't do anything. They're useless. Sorry?
She doubled down on bad ideas. That's what her problem was.
Yeah.
I know, we had a bad idea before. Let's do more of that. And they said no. And then even the conservatives are like, no.
Well, the weird thing about Liz Truss is she was originally a Labor person, like, for the longest time. So in a way, it's kind of like Trump, right? Trump was a Democrat forever, and then suddenly he was like, I can get votes on Republican ballots, so now I'm a Republican.
A typical woman can't make up her mind.
On the evidence of excerpts already circulating in the press. Sorry?
So there's your sexism right there. Typical woman can't make up her mind. Sorry, man.
On the evidence of excerpts already circulating in the press, 10 Years looks set to pick up where Truss left off when she recently headlined a far-right U.S. conference. She's just gone straight all the way, you know? I'm Labor, maybe I'll be conservative. Nah, I'm just gonna go straight to the far right. The West is in danger and only I can save it. At February's Conservative Political Action Conference, CPAC, Truss, attending alongside Nigel Farage, which is a great company to keep, made reference to the British deep state. Dun dun dun. Conspiracy theory that elected officials are at the mercy of a shadowy, unelected state actors and bureaucrats who anonymously manipulate political outcomes in favor of their own opaque agendas. Yeah, they're called billionaires. Trust me. Let's be honest here. We're living in a capitalist system. Who's controlling everything? The people with the money. Okay? They can just pay anyone off. Truss blamed this conspiracy for a failure to successfully implement her policies, decrying a huge establishment backlash. Honestly, the things against her policies are probably a mix of many different things that aren't just the secret undershadowy political elite, okay? There's a lot of things that are going wrong for her. Against her political program, adding a lot of it actually came from the state itself. 10 Years promises to elaborate on this theme when the extract shared in the Daily Mail, describing the day Truss government delivered the catastrophic mini-budget which sent £1 to a 37-year-old. Sent the pound to a 37-year low against the dollar and ultimately forced her to resign from office. As for whose Truss means by the establishment, in this particular case, it's the entire community of bankers and traders and economists and academics who didn't think the mini budget was good for the UK economy. My idea was right. Anyone who disagreed with me is part of a shadowy organization to stare down the West. For starters, she specifically blamed the Bank of England's governor, Andrew Bailey, then works her way down from there. She starts at the top and goes all the way down. And that freaking person at the kiosk, they also caused this. Not me. Soon, everyone is at fault. The Treasury, her own party, the media, everyone other than Truss. Isn't that always how defenses work? I'm innocent, I swear. What's remarkable, though, is how transparent Truss's rationalizations are. There are plenty of moments in even the short expert where she seems incapable of reading her own words back. Again, on the mini-budget's unpopularity across the board. Part of the problem we faced was a distinct shortage of expert voices supporting our agenda. Broadcasters and press alike struggled to find an economist and commentators who could explain what we were trying to do, because it didn't make any sense. This was a sign not only of how unfashionable this true conservative tax-cutting agenda had become, but of how unfamiliar journalists and MPs themselves were with it, because it didn't make any sense. You would think that as she was writing that first line, and the reality dawned on her that there was not one expert willing to sign off on her mini-budget soundness, Truss might have realized that she is the villain of her own story. A blundering minority of one, rightly considered a front-runner for the worst prime minister in British history. No, I don't think so. She was barely there to be the worst prime minister. I think it's the saddest run of a prime minister. It's the pitiful one. But I don't think she's the worst, right? There's been prime ministers who've done bad things, actually.
It's just piling on.
Yeah. You messed up the budget. That's like one thing of a million things. She could have started a war with China or something. That's a pretty bad thing to do.
This guy's punching down because he's not popular.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%, 100%. But if she had realized that, perhaps she would never had this book, which the publisher, Bite Back, promises is peppered with newsworthy anecdotes. Of these anecdotes, one is a conversation with late Queen, not long before her death. Another is a tidbit in which she complains about how former Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab kept protein shakes labeled with his name in a shared fridge. How dare he not want people to drink his stuff in the shared fridge? The freaking weirdo! So much to say, the newsworthiness of information promised by this peek behind the curtain seems very, very wildly, probably skews strongly towards banality. Whether there's enough in 10 years between the weak apologia and boring anecdotes to outsell Rushida's knife is doubtful. I don't think anyone, like this guy is, what was this guy's name again? Freaking Christian here is really, really involved in the book selling best novel of the year, kind of the Billboard charts of books over here. It's not gonna hit number one. Okay. I don't care, dude.
Smarmy. The word is smarmy. It's just getting way too sarcastic.
Yeah, I know. It's just so funny. It's like, this is not gonna win number one.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be funny. It's sarcasm. Yeah.
Sarcasm is spilled over in smarmy.
Indeed, when it comes to the Prime Minister who famously lost in a battle to outlast the lettuce, will there be any readers out there to leaf through her latest? I think this has to be just a book to bait the people who actually believe the West is falling and that she has the answers. Oh! She's gonna save us from our own incompetence, really. I think the West is falling from our own ego, okay? Our own narcissism. It is ourselves that is harming the West. We're so great that we'll never need to improve ever and look at our mistakes and learn from our mistakes. Sorry, what did you want to say?
It's a symptom the United States has with these book mill factories, these book mills that, you're a celebrity or you're a politician that gets famous, and all of a sudden here's somebody on the phone, hey, here's a book deal, we've already written the book. right? We've already written the book. In other words, the book's already written. We'll send you a copy. You put in the parts you like, and then we'll send it back to us. No,
Give us some fun anecdotes, please.
Yeah, they're both written books by somebody else, and they just go, hey, you know what you can do? Put some personal anecdotes in there, and we'll edit them in, and then we'll throw this and make millions off the suckers who agree with our politics that'll never read the book, but they're going to put it on their shelf.
Yeah.
Or conservative think tanks buy them by the hundreds of thousands. Who buys these crap books? Conservative think tanks do.
Yeah.
Because they have nothing but money to waste. Yeah, it's terrible. You ever see these political hacks with like 10 books? Oh, they didn't write any of them.
Yeah.
Like,
no way. No way.
They're not smart enough to write books. Writing books is not easy. And people think you're going to write a book. You're an idiot. Nobody can do it. Not even Stephen King. Stephen King probably has to argue with his editors, you know? Yeah, but I guarantee you're not taking out chapter 4. You're not taking out that line in chapter 4.
Well, I don't know if editors actually do that. So.
Probably not anymore. Probably AI now. Okay, well, I guess we're on to this day in history.
Yep.
All right. This day in history, 1646. Architect James Howden Mansart, who redesigned and expanded the Palace of Versailles, was born in Paris. Oh, by the way, there's I'm going to read this. The Danish Stock Exchange is on fire. It was actually currently
I did see that on my news thread, my news feed.
The spire has collapsed in a 400-year-old building in Copenhagen. In 1746, on this day, an English army defeated a Scottish force under Charles Edward Stuart, Bonnie Prince Charlie, as what he's known as, or Charles III, the real Charles III, right? At the Battle of Culloden, ending at the Jacobite effort to restore the Stuarts to the English throne. In 1755, painter Elizabeth Vigée Lebrun, known for her portraits of Marie Antoinette, was born in Paris. In 1838, French forces occupied Veracruz, Mexico. During the Pastry War, a conflict that began after the French pastry cook living near Mexico claimed that Mexican army officers had damaged his restaurant. The Pastry War. Of course, the Battle of Veracruz is commemorated in Cinco de Mayo. That's what the actual holiday is about. The Battle of Veracruz on May 5th, probably that same year. 1908, Natural Bridges National Monument was formally established in southern Utah. That's a monument that you can't mess with. You can't go spray paint it or nothing. In 1970, on this day, Vladimir Lenin ended his 17-year exile and returned to Russia to form a provisional government as the Bolsheviks took over. 1922, British author Kingsley Amis, who created the first novel Lucky Jim, a comic figure that became a household word in Great Britain in the 1950s, was born. Okay, happy birthday to Kingsley Amis. 1943, Swiss chemist Albert Hofmann discovered the psychedelic properties of LSD, a drug he had first synthesized in 1938. So, happy birthday to LSD!
Woo!
His first acid trip in 1943. 1947, American basketball player Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was born, won several championships and several scoring titles, and played Roger Murdoch in the movie Airplane. In 1948, in order to restore the economy of Europe after World War II, 16 European countries formed the Organization for European Economic Cooperation, later the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. So that was formed today in 1948, post-war. 1962, American journalist Walter Cronkite became the anchor of the CBS Evening News and became the most trusted man in America for the next 2 decades. Instantly, it just happened like that. And in 2003, Michael Jordan played his last basketball game in the National Basketball Association at the age of 40. And when people say he's better than LeBron, well, LeBron's almost 40, and he's playing way beyond what Michael Jordan did at the age of 40. In fact, Michael Jordan at the age of 40 was washed up for like 5 years. So let's not act like he's Superman. He drank too much, and he was a kind of a lousy person, to tell you the truth. So I'm just saying, all this Michael Jordan love is just, it's always been too much to take. In one of the deadliest mass shootings in the United States, 33 people, including the shooter, were killed in Blacksburg, Virginia campus in Virginia Tech on this day in 2007. A horrible fucking shooting in the United States. We do this probably every day as an anniversary or not something. And another horrible event, I know this is Good News Day, this day in 2014, the South Korean ferry seawall traveling from Incheon to Jeju capsized and sank, killing 304 people, most of whom were high schoolers. So the great South Korean ferry disaster was today. Other featured event, 1912, Harriet Quimby's flight across the English Channel. On this day in 1912, American aviator Harriet Quimby became the first woman to fly across the English Channel, guiding her French Blériot monoplane through heavy overcasts from Dover, England to Hardelot, France. So, happy Harry Quimby. Feature biography, Peter Ustinov, British author and director. Born April 16th, 1921. This is his 103rd birthday. He was born in London, England, died at the age 82 in Groenlier, Switzerland, March 28th, 2004. And what day is it today? It is National Wear Your Pajamas to Work Day. National Eggs Benedict Day. So Eggs Benedict is just like, it's kind of cool. It's like a sunny side up egg on top of a muffin, English muffin. Really good.
Yeah, really good.
National Healthcare Decisions Day, which is basically every day, but I'm not sure why it's April 16th. I guess it's, I don't know. I didn't know I would make that decision April 16th after tax day. It's National Orchid Day. Very pretty little exotic flowers. And it's National Bean Counter Day, which is a euphemism for being an accountant. Not to actually physically count beans. But if you want to count beans, hey, have at it. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So, National Bean Counter Day on April 16th is every accountant's favorite day of the year. After a flutter and flurry of preparing taxes right up until the stroke of midnight, these diligent number crunchers are well past due for a day off. So, all your bean counters got the day off today from staying up all night. So, it really ain't nothing. It's just like another day. I'm sorry. Bean counters are the heroes of your organization. They're the ones that tell you you're making a profit or not, right? They're the ones that control your stock prices. Also born on this day in rock and roll history, not really rock and roll, Henry Mancini was born, 1924.
Wow.
Died 14 June 1994. Henry Mancini, of course, wrote the Pink Panther theme and the Peter Gunn television series, which is the best theme song ever, the Peter Gunn television series theme. If you haven't heard it, just watch the beginning of the Peter Gunn show from the 1950s.
Yeah.
Also, birthdays today. Jerry Rafferty was born this day. Singer-songwriter Jerry Rafferty wrote Steelers Wheel, Stuck with Millie You, died January 2011 at the age of 63 after suffering a long illness. Other birthdays today, Selena was born today. It's 1971. Selena Quintanilla Perez, best known as Selena, Mexican-American singer, the queen of Tejano music. Her album Selena Live won a Grammy Award for Best American Album 36 Grammy Awards. At the 36 Grammy Awards, Yolanda Salvar, the president of her fan club, murdered her on March 31st, 1995. Warner Brothers made a film based on her life starring Jennifer Lopez in 1997, made Jennifer Lopez a star, which asked the question, would Jennifer Lopez be a star without Selena being murdered? Interesting. Incidentally, I was there when Selena was murdered. It was in Corpus Christi, Texas. I was staying right down the street at a different hotel.
Really?
From the one. Oh yeah, I was within 2
Wow.
blocks. Yep, I was on my way home, and I was driving home from work that day. I was staying in Corpus Christi, and my street was blocked off. My exit was blocked off. So I went to the next exit, and, circled around, came back to my hotel. What the hell's going on? And I turned on my TV, and there's a standoff with cops and the lady that had shot Selena, and she was in a truck with a gun pointed at her head, pointing a gun at her head, and the camera was like there's cops that she couldn't see all around her car. It was pretty freaky. I thought I was going to see another, like the OJ situation. I thought I was going to see a live assisted suicide on TV. Pretty. Oh wow. And that was right. I can just go to my parking lot and watch it. You know what I mean? Anyway, there's your day in history, your day in music, and what days it is today for April 16th, 2024 on Before Coffee.
Okay. This has been Allison here from the very cold Netherlands. The Sahara winds have left, and now I'm just freezing cold. We will see you tomorrow for Whacking Weird Wednesday. We'll cover all the weird stuff that's been going on this week or the previous week that we missed since last Wednesday. Take care out there. Don't forget to subscribe because we're trying to get to that 300 subscriber marker and then 1,000 and then the world. So don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ally and Rog on YouTube, if you're not watching this on YouTube. And did you want to say something else?
No.
Okay. We will see you. Take care out there. And here is your mic drop moment.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.